to. Let's go to Thomas Brown, who we were able to speak to on Wednesday. Packed house there. Herb, I think that was most people that was there since week one. Like, it was filled to the brim up in there.
Standing room only in the press room.
Standing room only in the press room. But Thomas Brown interviewed for the offensive coordinator job in the offseason. He was Sean McVay's assistant head coach when they won the Super Bowl. He said Dante's I said Thomas Jones.
You're watching too much P-Valley over there.
And Dante, we didn't debut the fine penalty box yet, but you've been the first person because you were on mute. So when we started crazy. Up, and it was your idea to come up.
It's my idea. That's
with the fine box, and you were the first person. Well, anyway, Thomas Brown. I would say this: he did not granted. Shane Waldron has a personality of this cup that I'm holding in my hand, but he had a lot more personality. He seemed like he knew what he was talking about. I'm not expecting too much from him because it's the Bears. Outside of the last year with the Bills when Joe Brady took over and their offense started looking better. Outside of that, how many times do you really see a midseason offensive coordinator change happen and it really is impactful? So I'm not expecting that much, but I did like what I heard from him. I think, to me, it's a 50-50 thing. It's about the play calls, but it's also about Caleb getting that rock out quicker. If you look at the 9 sacks that happened last week, I'll say easily 4 of them were on Caleb. He had more than enough time to throw the ball. He's got to get that out quicker. So if they can find a way to change that, maybe helps a little bit. But Herb, what do you think about Thomas Brown, and what are your expectations, if you have any, for Sunday?
Yeah, man, I don't know how you can interview that dude and then end up giving that job to Shane Waldron, right? It's just two different dudes. It's two different energies. Talk about commanding the room. You're talking about speaking with confidence. You're talking about having, a plan. It's like, you just when you talk to somebody, do you believe what they're saying or not? And, he has just a different presence about him, certainly than Shane Waldron did. So, I mean, I expect improvement, but it's not like he can change the system, right? It's not like he can change the system in the middle of the season. So, but I expect improvement on common sense things, right? He's not going to give the ball to the backup center on the goal line. He's not going to run speed option left on 4th and goal after you've been down there for 4 plays. He's not going to have players coming to him saying, coach him harder, right? He has high expectations and high demands for his players. He expects them to meet the standard. And so, for those things, I think you will see improvement, just, better decision-making on Sunday and then holding players accountable and having a different energy than Shane Waldron has. So I expect some improvement that you should be able to see on the field. They should become some tangible things, but at the end of the day, the system is going to be the system. The holes that they have offensively, be it a fluctuating O-line or whatever, youth at quarterback, those things will still remain the same. As far as Sunday, I don't expect nothing, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. Like 10 games in a row is crazy. Like
10. Hey, I'm gonna give it worse. Even worse than 10 games in a row. 25 out of the last 30.
25 out of 28. No, out of 28.
It's 28 out of 30. That's even worse.
No, it's 25 out of 28.
Oh, it's terrible.
15 out of 16, 25 out of 28, 10 God. Straight. Like, that's insane, bro. Like we got to stop calling this thing a rivalry, man. I know every single year as Bears fans, we all, all of us have been guilty ever since we was kids. We talk ourselves into thinking that we're going to get them this year. Lovey had the best record. Was he like even or 1 game over, 1 game under, something like that?
I think he was like 1 game over or was exactly at 500. Like,
yeah, so like
he got him during the peak at the end of Favre, but then Rodgers came and it didn't matter no more.
That's like as good as it's ever gotten to be, right around 500 in our lifetime. And so at least since Brett Favre got there in 93, like it's just at this point the sense of calling it a rivalry. I know I'm looking forward to being in the South Tunnel before the game, and Green Bay sucks. That's always cool. I like that every week.
Yeah.
But they turn it up on Packer Week, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna do that. Then they're gonna go in the crib and remember they live here. They're gonna kick their feet up on the coffee table. They're gonna grab your remote. They're gonna make a sandwich. Like, it's their crib. Like Aaron Rodgers told y'all it's their crib, and they've been taking care of his crib even since he left. Like, it's it's unfortunate, man. It's real sad to be, in the middle of such a historic rivalry, and it don't even feel right calling it that no more because we lose so much.
I think there's like a crazy point differential. I think over the last decade, I think it's like the Packers are plus 350 in the point differential, and meanwhile you got the Ravens and the Steelers who have played the same amount of games. And I want to say that's only
it was tied last game.
Yeah, and even the point differential. Yeah, I think it's like 1,002 to like 999. Like it's only like off by like 3 points. Like that's a real rivalry, and
that's how Duke Carolina was in college hoops for a long time. They had the same record, but they also had the same score, like the same exact score. And like this ain't that, bro. This ain't that.
This ain't that. This is just pride. This is just we grew up here in the crib. We're fans of whatever. Like my dad so tired of it. He went and remarried and she's a Packers fan, like he was just over it. So it is embarrassing though, because like it's I seen people talking about the Xavier McKinney comments with DJ Moore and all of that stuff, and it's like you can't even like really engage and get in. It's like, all right, whatever he says and whatever he feels is what he feels. Like we are literally, that is the last thing to worry about right now in that room. Like it's all about like how can you turn this organization and get this culture that they continuously harp on, how can you get it to be what it is up north? That is a culture. That is an organization. That is something that no matter who the quarterback is, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, the beat just keeps on turning. And it's like, okay, put your pride to the side and really ask yourself these questions. What are they doing that we're not doing? We're in the third largest market. This is Chicago. How are they able to do this without really spending in free agency as well? What is going on from a grassroots level as far as, scouting, development, training staff, all of that stuff? What is it that the Chicago Bears are lacking at, and how can they change this? And, I think Ryan Poles is going to be still tasked next year with figuring this out, unless it goes completely south and they don't win the rest of this year. Then, the conversation might have to be had, but they really do need to worry about what is happening in Hallis Hall and how that can change, because this is a terrible product. Chicago sports fans, we're very prideful. We're very, how would I say? We're very authentic in our love for our teams, and we know what the fuck we're talking about, whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball, whether it's football. And for them to continuously throw this out there and expect us to just eat it up, like, nah, like the apathy.
That's the
apathy. Because of course we're always gonna eat it up, because they're gonna always give us that little carrot and dangle it. And it's like, baseball is terrible in this city. Basketball is terrible in this city. You go and you get this, what we thought was this white knight and Caleb Williams. Of course we're gonna, of course we're gonna have hope.
Okay. Yeah. I think I had an internet problem for a minute. But Tosa, man, you know about actual rivalries because you're Steelers. You're Ravens, my fault. Your Ravens and Steelers go back and forth all the time. In fact, y'all meet again this week. But tell me, y'all have had offensive coordinator problems. Do you think that changing the offensive coordinator middle season can work?
We did it one year. We won the Super Bowl. So, yeah.
Excuse the hell out of me.
You remember that? It was a 2012 Super Bowl, I think, when we beat the 2013. I think I forgot who we fired in the middle of the season, but it can't work. I think that the thing is just the players have to buy in. Like you were saying, like you really have to have the coach, like, do they believe the shit that he's selling? That's really what it is. Like, do you believe like what the guy is selling? And honestly, y'all previous coordinator did not fill me or anybody with any confidence. It was not fun at all. But I don't know. Like, I just truly feel that you need to spark change. Like, and that's really it. It's like, how can you spark change and how can you make everybody buy into like what everybody's selling? I give you another example of like Manchester United, my favorite soccer team. We fired our coach like a few weeks ago because he had no charisma whatsoever. Like, he had the ideas, but he had no charisma. So it was like, how do you have somebody come in the middle of the season and really spark the players? So maybe that's the change y'all need, is to get rid of the offensive coordinator, because what I saw last week was that shit was not good. I would fight.
It was terrible. Her, I want to go back to you. Now we talked about expectations. Now, there's a difference between expectations, what you want to see. What do you want to see from Thomas Brown on Sunday?
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Like, I mean, like Mike was saying, we ain't nothing we can do about being Bears fans, man. Now, having been on the beat for 4 years, you know it. Like, it drains some of your fandom away. It's like,
100%, 100%.
But like at the end of the day, I still always want the best for the Bears. So I'm always gonna root for them. I'm gonna go into Sunday hoping that they can beat Green Bay. Like I just know better. You know what I mean? I saw Orlando put in the comments like they beat Green Bay. I'm back on the wagon. I feel that, but like I'm not even off the wagon. It's just like I'm just watching the team and seeing what it is. Like, and I don't like I wouldn't put $100 on them to win none of these games coming up. Like none of them. And not having seen them play in Washington, Arizona, and against the Patriots, like that's just I don't see it. But what I would hope would happen is that, you know, Thomas Brown would call more of a sensible game. And I actually think he's going to get the response from his players. I think I'll predict this right now. I think the Bears are going to score on their opening drive. Right?
Oh, I do too. If I was a gambler, I would 100% bet that.
I think they're going to score a touchdown on their opening drive.
Happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've got 10 points total in the first quarter all season. That's
terrible.
Like you got to try to do that, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you got to try to only score 10 points in 9 games in the first quarter. Like, so I think he'll be better with that. I think they'll start out a little bit faster, and I'm hoping that he'll be better with end of half situations. The Bears yet again on Sunday against the Patriots, they had an opportunity to go 2 for 1 at the half. When they deferred to the second half, they went down. They got the first part, they got a field goal, and the defense let them go down there and score. And then the offense came out in the second half, and I think we went 3 and out. It's just like I think he'll be better, like situationally, goal line, red zone. You know, in a 2-minute. Third down was atrocious last week. I don't even remember what it finished. I just remember looking up at one point, it was like 1 for 11, and that I was done with the game at that point, so I stopped tracking everything. But I think he'll be better, you know, situationally. I think he's just. I won't even put this on him. Like Shane Waldron just wasn't smart, like on some common sense type stuff. And I got a ton of respect for all NFL coaches, man. It's the pinnacle of the profession, and you don't get there by accident, right? So even all these coaches that's, you know, coaches' kids and all of that, coaches' grandkids, it's a lot of that in the league right now as far as nepotism. But even with that, man, you got to spend a lot of time around the game. You got to really know the game. So I got a ton of respect for all the coaches in the league, but it's levels to it, man. Like some do it well and some don't. And he just didn't do it well. And it was just common sense stuff. It wasn't even really that kind of deep stuff, right? It's not like, oh, I hate his system. I hate this. It's just like, bro, don't get a ball to your backup center on the goal line. He ain't touched the ball maybe since Pop Warner. Like just don't do that. And
don't double down on it. And don't double down on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, don't double down on it. And then that's what's the most infuriating thing of the whole Waldron Flus combo is like, we're not fucking stupid. Everybody knows that was
everybody
not the
knows
thing.
that's just
and then
stupid.
you come back and you double down on it. And then I can see, you know, just Herb and Scott from what you guys see. And then, you know, what is coming out more and more through some of the other beat writers is he never had the room. And it's like, well, why, you know, like, and like to your point, Herb, like, you know, we love the people that win the press conference. Thomas Brown, hey, listen, just hearing his voice, if I don't watch it, just hearing it, I'd be like, this is a man that has his head on together. And yeah, at least he's going to go into a detail that's with confidence and somebody you could rally behind. How could you hire Shane Waldron?
Go ahead, Dante.
I have a question for you and Herb. Did Thomas Brown mention anything about his play calling style? Because you remember when McVay had Jared Goff, he would talk in the headset until the mic cut off. I didn't see anything about how Thomas called plays in Carolina, but did he mention anything about that during his press conference?
I think all he said was like
he'd be in the booth.
Yeah, he'd be in the booth, and he was like efficient, explosive. There was nothing like it was real buzzword type stuff. Like
okay.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job of navigating some of the questions in terms of just the gamesmanship of it, right? Not trying to drop no nuggets to Green Bay or whoever. I thought he did a good job with that. I wasn't expecting him to come out and say, well, you know, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to run more,
We finna do a
pass
lot of
more.
play
I'm going
action on
to,
these niggas.
yeah, I wouldn't expect him to come out with that. So I thought he did a good job of kind of navigating some of those questions. I just think that, like, going back to what Mike was saying, like, it's just you got a situation where the head coach is unwilling to call it what it is. And just, to me, that says I'm not holding him accountable to this. Like, if you can't come out and say, yeah, we probably shouldn't have run that, then to me, I don't think you're telling him that at Hallis. Number one, if I'm the head coach, that's not coming through my headset and then making it to the field. That's insane. Like, wait, what you just say? We finna get about a Doug Kramer. Boy, give me your headset. Don't say shit else. Like, that's we're not doing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that, it just didn't make sense. And it's just those little common sense things that, you know, I would think that, you know, we'll see some improvement. And we talk, that's points, man. Like, especially when you're offense that's struggling to put up points, you got to take advantage of all these opportunities. That's another thing where I thought, you know, and this can go to the whole offensive staff. This could be offensive coordinator, this quarterback's coach too, right? And it's Caleb. Like, it's not just that he takes all the sacks that you was talking about earlier, Scott. It's when he takes them and how he takes them.
At the worst time.
Bro, we had the 31. You can't take a 10-yard sack. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You're taking points off the board, and you've done it multiple times. So if you do it once as a rookie, like, oh man, I can't do that. Okay, cool, no problem. Don't do that anymore, bro. You've done it at least another time or two where you've directly taken points off the board on third down once we've gotten in the scoring position. You can't do that, bro. Y'all can't bounce back from that. Y'all can't afford to miss 3 points, 6 points. Y'all need those. So, you know, those types of mistakes, and Coach Plus has talked about, you know, since he's been here, we don't walk past mistakes. But every time there's a mistake, we stop and correct it right there. And then now you got players coming in later on the offensive side, from Mercedes Lewis to DeAndre Swift, all saying like, well, I just don't know if we was focused in on the details during the practice and we was letting stuff slide by. Like, well, that's two different philosophies, right? So you just letting this man do his own thing, even though it flies in the face of everything you said you stand for. And that's what really led me. I mean, after that game, after the goal line, after the Doug Kramer game, I asked him in that press conference too, like when you heard that come through your headphones, you didn't want to veto that call at all. He was, well, it's in our playbook. We practice. It's a lot of shit in your playbook, bro. But there's a time to run it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't. You know. So he did that, and then ultimately, as that just kept building, that's what just led me to ask him, like, man, are you really gonna let yourself get fired without addressing this issue you got an offensive coordinator?
That was a question of the afternoon that you asked right there. And, you know, and then he did in Pete Flus where, you know, we got to process. We got to see what the process is.
So cool. Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah, we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line.